Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Journey into Understanding Artificial Intelligence. Last time, we explored the transformative power of combining blockchain and AI, and wow, did we cover some fascinating ground.
Absolutely. We discussed how blockchain and AI are revolutionizing industries, streamlining supply chains, optimizing energy grids, and making finance more inclusive. We also touched on how the Internet of Things (IoT) amplifies the impact of these technologies, creating smarter, more interconnected systems. And of course, we couldn't ignore the buzz around crypto coins and non-fungible tokens (NFTs) as they reshape digital ownership and transactions.
It was a packed session, but today, we're stepping into the future, quite literally, as we dive into extended reality, the Metaverse, and how data and AI are shaping these virtual realms. And to guide us in our journey, we have this book by Dr. Alok Agarwal called The Fourth Industrial Revolution and 100 Years of AI.
Great, let's unpack the technological building blocks of the Metaverse, explore how AI powers its creation and evolution, and take a closer look at the role of digital twins, virtual replicas of real-world entities, and their integration with AI.
Let's get started. So imagine attending a wedding reception in a magical castle like Hogwarts, all without ever leaving your living room. Sounds surreal, right? That's the kind of future people envision with the Metaverse. Is it all just hype, or are we looking at the next big leap forward?
Definitely more than hype. Take the real-life example of an Indian couple, Dinesh and Jana Ganantini, who hosted their wedding reception in the Metaverse. They even included a 3D avatar of the bride's late father to bless the couple, a touching blend of reality and virtual technology.
Wow, that's both heartwarming and a bit surreal. So, the Metaverse isn't just about gaming or VR, it's about expanding reality. But what sets it apart from traditional VR experiences?
One key difference is ownership. In the Metaverse, you can own virtual real estate or buy digital items with verified ownership, like trying on clothes with your avatar in a virtual mall before purchasing them.
No more long fitting room lines? Sign me up, but it sounds complex. I've heard about the 7 layers of the Metaverse. Can we break those down?
Absolutely. The 7 layers, introduced by John Radoff, cover everything from user experience to the tech behind it. It starts with experience, where you can attend concerts, teleport, or explore cities from your living room.
So it's like social media, but far more immersive. What about creating these experiences?
That's the creator economy layer. Anyone can design games, build spaces, or create digital fashion, essentially becoming a metaverse entrepreneur.
And what about the tech that makes all this happen?
That's where spatial computing comes in, bridging the digital and physical worlds with interactive 3D models and holograms. Then there's decentralization, powered by blockchain, for secure transactions and ownership. This ties into NFTs, which represent unique digital assets in the Metaverse.
And how do we interact with all this?
The human interface layer makes it possible. Beyond VR headsets, think haptic suits for feeling sensations or brain-computer interfaces that could one day let you control your experience with your mind.
Incredible. But what powers all of this?
The infrastructure layer, requiring high-speed internet, massive data centers, and advanced storage to handle the Metaverse's demands. It's like the internet, but on an entirely new level.
Wow. So, the Metaverse, 7 layers all working together to create this futuristic virtual world. But is it all good, or are there things we should be worried about?
Like any technology, the Metaverse isn't perfect. Privacy, security, and even misuse are real concerns that need to be addressed as this space evolves.
Right. It feels like we need some serious conversations about the ethics and societal impact of this technology before it becomes mainstream.
Absolutely. We have to think about how it affects our lives, societies, and even our sense of reality. The Metaverse is still in its early stages. What we see now is just a glimpse of its potential.
Kind of like the early days of the internet, email, dial-up, and simple websites. And look where we are now.
Exactly. The Metaverse is on the cusp of significant growth, much like the internet was back then.
Let's look at real-world applications. You mentioned education as an example earlier.
Right. Imagine a virtual classroom where students from across the globe can gather to explore ancient Rome. Instead of just reading about the Colosseum, they could walk through a 3D version of it, interact with historical figures, and experience the culture firsthand.
That's incredible. And what about the creator economy?
The Metaverse opens up new opportunities. Think of a fashion designer hosting a virtual runway show where avatars model digital outfits. These designs could be sold directly as NFTs, bypassing traditional barriers and creating entirely new income streams.
It sounds transformative, but what about the risks? You mentioned privacy and the digital divide earlier.
Exactly. With so much data collected in the metaverse, there's a real concern about how it's used, like ultra-targeted ads based on your virtual activities. And not everyone can afford the tech needed to access the metaverse, which could deepen existing inequalities.
It seems like these challenges, privacy, accessibility, ethical use, need to be addressed early on.
Definitely. We need to think critically about the societal impact, not just the tech itself.
And what about the infrastructure? Dr. Agarwal mentioned this as a challenge too.
Building the metaverse requires super fast networks, powerful computing, and massive storage, things that aren't easy to achieve but are essential for the metaverse to function properly.
And it needs to offer more than just virtual malls, right?
Exactly. The metaverse needs to provide unique, valuable experiences, ways to connect, learn, create, and explore that go beyond what's possible in the real world.
You also mentioned brain-computer interfaces. Are those really on the horizon?
They might sound like sci-fi, but the technology is advancing quickly. Imagine controlling your avatar or interacting with the metaverse using just your thoughts. No headsets required.
That's fascinating, but also a bit unnerving. Giving tech that kind of access to our brains raises serious questions.
True. It's both exciting and something we need to approach with caution. The metaverse holds incredible potential, but we need to navigate it wisely.
There are definitely some ethical concerns, but it sounds like this technology also has huge potential benefits, like helping people with disabilities or creating immersive, intuitive experiences.
Exactly. Like any powerful tool, it has both positive and negative sides, and we need to approach it thoughtfully.
Let's switch gears a bit. I've heard about something called digital twins. What are they, and how do they fit into all of this?
A digital twin is a virtual replica of a real-world object or system.
So, like a digital version of my car or house?
Kind of, but it's more than just a 3D model. A digital twin is connected to real-time data from the physical object, so it can simulate how it behaves and performs.
That sounds useful. What's the point, though?
Take a jet engine, for example. A digital twin lets you simulate its performance under different conditions, predict potential problems, and optimize its design, all without touching the real engine.
So, it's like a virtual lab for testing and improving real-world things.
Exactly. And in the metaverse, digital twins could scale up to entire cities.
A digital twin of a city? That's ambitious.
It is, but imagine the possibilities. Simulating traffic patterns, planning for natural disasters, optimizing energy use, even designing better urban environments.
It's like SimCity, but real.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. Factories, hospitals, transportation systems, even ecosystems could have digital twins.
That's incredible. Let's bring it back to everyday life. How might people actually use the metaverse?
It could change how we work, learn, and socialize. Think virtual conferences, collaborating on 3D projects, or even remote medical treatments.
So it's not just about escaping reality, it's about improving it.
Exactly. The metaverse could transform education, healthcare, entertainment, and more.
Healthcare is particularly exciting. What might that look like?
Imagine surgeons practicing complex procedures in virtual reality before operating on a real patient, or stroke patients using immersive experiences to regain motor skills.
So it's like a flight simulator for doctors and therapists.
Exactly. It's not about replacing in-person care, but expanding access and creating new treatment possibilities.
That's amazing. But are there challenges to making this all happen?
Definitely. Building the metaverse requires collaboration, innovation, and investment. From developing new technologies to addressing ethical concerns, it's a gradual process.
So it's a long road ahead, but the potential makes it worth exploring.
Absolutely. It's about shaping a future that benefits everyone.
Data privacy and security seem like big issues, especially in healthcare.
Definitely. Protecting patient information and using it responsibly is critical. And there's also the challenge of training healthcare professionals to use these new technologies effectively.
It's a complex situation, but the potential benefits are huge.
Absolutely. The intersection of healthcare and the metaverse is exciting, but it requires thoughtful implementation.
Speaking of potential, how might the metaverse impact businesses?
The metaverse could transform everything: marketing, sales, product development, and customer service.
Can you give me an example of how a company might use it for marketing?
Imagine a car company with a virtual showroom where customers can explore 3D models, customize features, and take virtual test drives, all without stepping into a dealership.
That sounds great. What about other areas?
Training and education. For one, Companies could use virtual reality to simulate real-world scenarios, allowing employees to practice skills in safe, immersive environments.
So training becomes more engaging and hands-on.
Exactly. Plus, the metaverse removes geographical barriers, enabling companies to connect with global customers and employees in a more personal way.
Like virtual coffee breaks with colleagues worldwide?
Precisely. It changes how we collaborate and build relationships professionally and personally.
But there must be challenges for businesses, right?
Absolutely. Creating compelling experiences to attract and retain customers is crucial, and the costs of building a presence in the metaverse can be high, especially for small businesses.
And then there's regulation.
Exactly. As the metaverse grows, we'll see new laws governing data privacy, intellectual property, and more. Businesses will need to adapt to this evolving landscape.
Sounds like uncharted territory.
It is, but it's also a space ripe for innovation for those willing to explore.
Dr. Agarwal also mentioned the creation of new jobs and industries. What might that look like?
As the metaverse develops, we'll need metaverse architects, designers, developers, security experts, and content creators, a whole new workforce to support this ecosystem.
Like the early days of the internet when people were learning to code websites.
Exactly. And just as the internet created new jobs, the metaverse will too.
But could it also make some jobs obsolete?
That's a valid concern. Automation and AI might replace some tasks currently done by humans.
So it's not about eliminating jobs entirely, but evolving them and requiring new skills.
Precisely. Preparing for this shift by investing in education and training programs will be key to ensuring people can thrive in the metaverse economy.
It's a mix of challenges and opportunities, but it sounds like an exciting future if we approach it thoughtfully. And I do think Metaverse has the potential for both good and bad. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. Like any powerful technology, the metaverse can be a force for positive change or a source of challenges. On the positive side, it could connect people, inspire creativity, and make essential services like education and healthcare more accessible.
So it has the potential to break down barriers and create new opportunities.
Exactly. But there's also the risk that it could deepen inequalities, spread misinformation, and introduce new ways to monitor and control people.
It's a double-edged sword.
That's a good way to put it. Dr. Agarwal emphasizes that it's up to us to guide its development to maximize the good and minimize the bad.
That's a big responsibility. Where do we even start?
It begins with honest, inclusive conversations about the metaverse's potential impact. Experts from technology, ethics, law, and social sciences need to work together, along with input from users, businesses, and policymakers.
So it's not just about tech people, it's a group effort.
Exactly. A comprehensive approach is needed to consider different perspectives and ensure a balanced development.
What specific steps can we take to ensure the metaverse is developed responsibly?
Well, we can start by creating ethical guidelines to protect user privacy, prevent discrimination, and promote accountability. Education is another critical area, helping people understand the benefits and risks while equipping them with skills to navigate this virtual world safely.
So it's not just about the technology, but about fostering a responsible and inclusive metaverse for everyone.
Exactly. It's a tool with the potential to transform our world, but it's up to us to use it wisely.
That's a profound perspective. You also mentioned earlier the potential for the metaverse to enable new forms of surveillance. Can you expand on that?
As we spend more time in virtual spaces, there's a risk of extensive tracking. Every move, interaction, and even preferences could be monitored.
Like the dystopian scenarios we see in movies?
It sounds far-fetched, but with the vast amount of data already collected online, such concerns aren't entirely out of reach.
That's unsettling. How can we protect our privacy in this new space?
Awareness is key. People should take steps like controlling what they share, using strong privacy settings, and supporting organizations advocating for digital rights. Supporting laws and policies that safeguard privacy is equally important.
So it's about taking proactive steps as individuals and working collectively.
Exactly. The metaverse is a powerful tool, and its impact will reflect how responsibly we develop and use it.
That's a lot to think about, but before we jump to next topic, Dr. Agarwal said the metaverse reflects our values and aspirations. What does that mean?
It means the metaverse isn't just technology, it's a social construct. It mirrors our hopes, fears, and desires, and its success depends on how we shape it as a society.
The metaverse isn't just about technology. It's also about the social and cultural changes it brings. It might challenge how we think about society and even create new social norms.
Absolutely. It's fascinating to imagine virtual worlds where our ideas of identity, community, and reality blur. Defining these concepts in a digital space is a whole new challenge.
So it's not just a tech platform. It's like a giant social experiment.
Exactly. The metaverse offers new ways for people to interact, express themselves, and even redefine who they are. Like any new frontier, it comes with challenges and opportunities, conflicts and collaborations.
It sounds like a space where both possibilities and responsibilities are endless.
That's right. How this space evolves depends on the choices we make, the rules we set, and the values we prioritize. It's not just about the code, it's about the culture we build.
It's a reminder that the metaverse is a reflection of us and the world we want to create.
Exactly. It should be a space where everyone feels welcome and respected, a platform that's inclusive and representative from the start.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and dive into something fascinating. Will the metaverse powered by AI eventually blur the lines between what's real and what's virtual?
That's a great question. AI is deeply intertwined with how the metaverse works and is built. It's not just about avatars or virtual worlds. AI shapes the entire experience.
So AI isn't just behind the scenes, it's everywhere, influencing every aspect of the metaverse.
Exactly. One of the most mind-bending applications of AI is in brain-computer interfaces, BCIs. These allow users to control actions in the metaverse just by thinking about them.
That sounds like sci-fi. How does it even work?
BCIs translate brainwaves, electrical signals generated by your thoughts, into commands within the metaverse. For example, thinking about walking forward could move your avatar forward, no keyboard or controller needed.
That's amazing, but also a bit unsettling. If AI can interpret brain signals, could it eventually read emotions too?
It's possible. Some advanced AI systems, like capsule neural networks, CAPSNets, are particularly good at analyzing complex brain signals, which could lead to understanding emotions in the future.
While this technology has huge potential, especially for accessibility, it raises some significant ethical questions.
Definitely. But AI's influence isn't limited to thought control. Computer vision, for example, translates real-world movements into lifelike avatar actions, from gestures to facial expressions.
So it's about making interactions in the metaverse feel natural and seamless.
Exactly. AI also plays a big role in creating hyperrealistic visuals, using technologies like generative adversarial networks, GANs.
I've heard of GANs, but can you break it down a bit?
Sure. Imagine two AI systems. One is an artist trying to create realistic images, and the other is a critic trying to spot fakes. They learn from each other, pushing the boundaries of realistic image generation.
So the AI essentially teaches itself how to create virtual worlds that look indistinguishable from reality?
Exactly. GANs are used to create everything from avatars and landscapes to buildings and creatures, forming the foundation of immersive experiences in the metaverse.
Beyond visuals, what else is AI doing to enhance the metaverse?
AI plays a key role in refining the virtual world. It enhances image quality with techniques like blur removal, color correction, and texture enhancement, making the environment more visually appealing and believable.
So AI is doing more than just building the metaverse, it's perfecting it.
Exactly. The level of realism AI brings to the metaverse blurs the lines between virtual and real, opening up incredible possibilities, but also complex challenges to consider.
Right? So AI is constantly working to make the metaverse look and feel as real as possible. That brings us back to the big question. As these lines continue to blur, what does that mean for us in the real world?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Okay, let's move on to another piece of the puzzle. How do we actually communicate and interact within this AI-powered metaverse?
That's where natural language processing, or NLP, comes in. It's a branch of AI that helps computers understand and process human language. It's key to making communication in the metaverse feel natural and intuitive.
So it's like being able to talk to other avatars and virtual characters in a way that feels human?
Exactly. NLP powers virtual assistants and chatbots, enabling them to hold conversations, understand intentions, and respond in emotionally appropriate ways.
That's fascinating. But can AI truly understand emotions, or is it just mimicking them?
That's a complex question. AI can already analyze text and speech to detect emotional cues like sarcasm or excitement. It's not perfect, but it's improving all the time.
Beyond communication, there's a lot happening behind the scenes to make the metaverse work smoothly, right?
Absolutely. Managing the infrastructure, data centers, networks, and storage systems requires immense computing power. AI optimizes all of that.
So, AI is like an invisible conductor, coordinating everything to keep the system running seamlessly?
Exactly. It constantly analyzes data, makes adjustments, and ensures the entire system operates efficiently. so users don't even notice the complexity behind the scenes.
AI truly is the unsung hero of the metaverse, but it's not just about maintaining things, it's also shaping how the metaverse evolves, isn't it?
Yes, especially through personalization. AI tailors experiences for each user by analyzing their behavior, what they engage with, who they interact with, and even the virtual items they use.
So the metaverse isn't a one-size-fits-all environment?
Not at all. Just like in the real world, your experience in the metaverse reflects your interests and preferences. AI makes that possible by observing and adapting to your interactions.
That sounds amazing, but doesn't it sometimes feel invasive?
It can be a concern, but the aim is to use this data to enhance engagement and create more relevant experiences, not to overstep boundaries.
Can you give an example?
Sure, if someone spends a lot of time exploring virtual art galleries, AI might recommend similar experiences or connect them with other art enthusiasts.
That sounds cool, but what if AI gets it wrong or limits user choices?
That's a valid concern. Developers are working to strike a balance between personalization and user autonomy to ensure AI enhances the experience without being restrictive.
The potential for AI-driven personalization is huge, especially in areas like education and entertainment, but it's important to keep an eye on how it's implemented.
Absolutely. Responsible use of AI is key to unlocking its potential without compromising trust or freedom.
So it's not just a one-size-fits-all virtual world?
Not at all. In the real world, your experiences are shaped by your interests, preferences, and social circles. AI is working to bring that same level of personalization to the metaverse.
How does that work? Does the metaverse, spy on everything we do?
Not exactly spy, but it does observe. AI algorithms analyze your behavior, what you engage with, who you interact with, even the virtual objects you collect.
That's starting to sound a bit like Big Brother.
I get the concern. The goal isn't to create a surveillance state, but to use this data to craft more engaging and relevant experiences.
What does that look like in practice?
Imagine you spend a lot of time in virtual art galleries. AI might start recommending similar experiences or introduce you to other art enthusiasts.
So it's like having a virtual friend who knows your tastes better than you do?
In a way, yes. And as AI gets better at understanding preferences, those recommendations become even more tailored, leading to more satisfying experiences.
That sounds cool, but what if AI gets it wrong? What if it pushes us toward content that's not beneficial?
That's a valid concern, and developers are working to address it. The aim is to enhance experiences, not dictate them. It's about finding a balance between personalization and freedom of choice.
The potential benefits of AI-powered personalization seem huge, especially in areas like education or entertainment. But I can see how it could be misused.
Absolutely. It's a powerful tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or ill. That's why ethical considerations and responsible development are so important as this technology evolves.
So it's not just about technical advancements, but ensuring those advancements benefit everyone.
Precisely. And this brings us to another fascinating aspect of AI in the metaverse: its ability to blur the lines between the real and virtual worlds even further.
We've touched on this before, but how exactly does AI contribute to that?
Think about the hyper-realistic visuals, intuitive communication, and personalized experiences we've discussed. As AI continues to refine these, the virtual world starts feeling less like a game and more like an extension of reality.
So it's not just escapism, it's about creating a virtual world so convincing it feels like a second life.
Exactly. Imagine attending a concert in the metaverse that feels just as real as a physical one, or learning a new skill through virtual simulations indistinguishable from hands-on experience.
That's mind-blowing. It makes you wonder if at some point we'll even be able to tell the difference between the real and virtual worlds.
That's a profound question. As AI becomes increasingly sophisticated, we may see the real and virtual merge completely. That raises important questions about society, relationships, and even our sense of self.
Those are some heavy topics. It feels like we're venturing into philosophical territory.
We are. The conversation moves beyond the technical and dives into deeper implications, touching every aspect of the metaverse.
AI really is at the heart of it all, creating realistic experiences, personalizing interactions, and blurring the lines between worlds.
It is, and it's crucial to not just marvel at its capabilities, but also engage in thoughtful discussions about its broader impact.
It's like we need to be active participants in shaping this future, not just passive observers.
Exactly. It's not about fearing the technology, but understanding its potential and guiding its development to benefit humanity.
Well said. This deep dive has given me a lot to think about. Where do we go from here?
Well, as AI becomes more sophisticated, will we see a blurring of the lines between the real and virtual worlds? And what implications might that have for us as individuals and as a society?
That's quite a question to ponder. Feels like this conversation could go on forever.
It certainly could, but for now, let's reflect on what we've learned about this fascinating and sometimes unnerving world of AI in the metaverse.
That question about the blurring lines really stuck with me. It's almost like we're stepping into a science fiction novel, but it's becoming our reality.
Exactly. It challenges us to rethink our whole understanding of what's real. What happens when the virtual world, enhanced by AI, becomes so immersive and personalized that it rivals or even surpasses our physical experiences?
It makes you wonder if we can have these incredibly rich experiences in the metaverse. Will we even want to leave? Could it become a form of escapism where people spend more time in these virtual worlds than in the real one?
It's a possibility. As the metaverse evolves, it might not be about escaping reality, but expanding it. It could become a space where we explore different facets of ourselves, connect with others in new ways, and push the boundaries of human experience.
That's an interesting perspective. So it's not about replacing the real world, but augmenting it with virtual experiences. Think about how we use technology now to connect with people across the globe and access information instantly. The metaverse, powered by AI, could take that to another level, creating an interconnected and immersive digital realm.
But even if it's not about escaping reality, spending so much time in a virtual world could still impact our real lives, right?
It likely would. That's why it's important to consider the potential consequences. How will our values, relationships, and even our sense of self be shaped by our experiences in the metaverse?
Exactly. We need to be active participants in shaping this future, not just passive consumers. We should be asking what kind of metaverse we want to create, what values we want to embed in this world, and how AI can enhance the human experience without diminishing it.
Those are some big questions. I don't have all the answers, but this discussion has definitely given me a lot to think about.
Me too. It's clear that AI will play a pivotal role in shaping the metaverse, and the choices we make today will have profound implications for the future.
Exactly. Okay, let's go back to something we were discussing earlier. Digital twins.
Oh, very cool. I'm excited about this one.
Have you ever imagined having a perfect virtual copy of something in the real world?
You mean like a digital twin?
Exactly. So a digital twin is a virtual representation of a real-world object, process, or even a living being.
Right. It's not just a 3D model. It's a dynamic, data-driven replica that mirrors its real-world counterpart.
Yeah, so it's constantly updating based on the data it's receiving.
Exactly.
So it's not just a snapshot in time. It's like a living, breathing copy.
What's interesting is that the term digital twin is relatively recent. It was coined in 2010, but the concept itself has been around for a while.
Makes sense. People have been thinking about this kind of thing for a long time.
Exactly. In 1991, David Gelernter wrote a book called Mirror Worlds, where he already discussed these ideas.
That's fascinating. The idea has been brewing for a while.
Definitely.
Now, let's break down the 3 types of digital twins: the prototype, the instance, and the aggregate.
Sure. The digital twin prototype, DTP, exists before the physical object. It's used for simulations and design optimization.
So like a blueprint.
Exactly. Then you have the digital twin instance, DTI, which is created for each individual instance of the object.
So if a company makes 100 windmills, each one would have its own DTI.
Exactly. Each windmill would have its own unique DTI linked to real-time data from sensors on that specific windmill. And then there's the digital twin aggregate, DTA, which combines data from multiple DTIs.
So it's like looking at the big picture.
Exactly. It provides insights and informs decision-making at a higher level.
That's really cool. So let's say a water company is installing a fire hydrant. How would digital twins be used there?
Well, let's start with the DTP. The company could use it to simulate water flow and pressure within the hydrant.
So they can see how it would perform before it's even built.
Right? They can identify potential weak points or design flaws early on.
That's smart. Saves them a lot of headaches later. So what happens once the hydrant is installed?
Then the DTI comes into play. It monitors things like water pressure, temperature, and flow rate in real time, along with environmental factors.
What kind of environmental factors?
Things like ground temperature and vibration levels. It gives a complete picture of what's happening with that specific hydrant.
And what's the advantage of having all that data?
Imagine the DTI detects a gradual decrease decrease in water pressure over time. That could indicate a developing leak, which might not be visually noticeable yet.
So they could catch it early.
Exactly. They could catch it early and fix it before it becomes a major problem.
That's pretty cool. And then if we zoom out to the DTA level, the water company could analyze data from all the fire hydrants in a city, and that could reveal patterns.
Right? It could show areas with aging infrastructure or predict future maintenance needs.
So they could be proactive.
Exactly. They could be proactive about maintaining their infrastructure.
That's really powerful. It's like having a crystal ball that predicts the future.
Well, not exactly predict the future, but it can definitely provide insights that they wouldn't have otherwise.
Right? And help them make better decisions.
Exactly.
So we've talked about windmills and fire hydrants, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. Digital twins have applications in healthcare, agriculture, and even the metaverse. Let's dive deeper into those.
Sounds good. So in healthcare, imagine every patient having a digital twin, a virtual representation of their unique physiology.
That's kind of futuristic, but fascinating.
What if doctors could use a digital twin to simulate the effects of different treatments on a patient's biology?
So they could run virtual trials to see which treatment is most effective.
Exactly. It's personalized medicine taken to a whole new level. And it goes even further. Digital twins could monitor patients remotely, collecting data on vital signs, activity levels, even medication adherence.
So they could potentially identify issues before they even become noticeable. Amazing.
Early intervention is key.
What about agriculture? How are digital twins used there?
Imagine a farmer having a digital twin of their entire farm. It would have data on soil conditions, weather patterns, crop health, even livestock behavior. It's like a virtual farm manager that helps make better decisions about planting, irrigation, and even predicting pest outbreaks.
That's incredible. It's like having a team of agricultural experts working 24/7 to improve crop yields, reduce water usage, and promote sustainable farming.
Exactly.
What about manufacturing?
Think about a complex piece of machinery on a production line. The digital twin could monitor its performance, analyzing data on vibration and temperature.
So it's like a constant checkup for the machine.
It looks for signs of wear and tear or potential issues, detecting subtle changes that humans might miss.
And then they can schedule repairs before a breakdown. Makes a lot of sense.
And it's not just for maintenance. Digital twins can also be used for product design. Engineers can simulate how new products will perform under different conditions, identifying issues before building anything.
That speeds up the development cycle and saves money too.
Exactly.
And what about the metaverse? How do digital twins fit into that?
The metaverse is a vast network of virtual worlds. Digital twins can be used to create replicas of real-world objects, environments, and even people.
So I could have a digital twin of myself in the metaverse interacting with other digital twins.
Exactly. Architects can design buildings in the metaverse and test them before building them in the real world. Urban planners can create simulations of cities to optimize traffic flow or energy consumption.
So it's not just about replication, it's about improving the real world.
This is all pretty amazing, but are there any downsides?
Well, yeah, of course, every new technology has its risks. One concern is data security. Digital twins rely on a lot of data, so it's important to ensure that data is protected.
Encryption, access controls, and cybersecurity. All of that.
What else?
Another challenge is the complexity of the systems. It takes a lot of expertise to build and manage digital twins. And then there's the issue of accuracy.
What do you mean?
The effectiveness of a digital twin depends on the quality of the data it receives. If the sensors are faulty or the data is incomplete, the digital twin might give incorrect predictions.
Right, so garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
So we need good sensors, proper data validation, and human oversight.
Right? We can't just rely on the machines completely. Digital twins are tools, but humans still need to be in control. It's all about finding the right balance between human expertise and technology.
This has been a great deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much about digital twins.
I'm glad.
But we're just scratching the surface. There's so much more to explore. As the technology advances, even more applications will emerge.
Digital twins could revolutionize entire economies. They could become integral to how we design, build, and operate everything. Cities, transportation systems, healthcare, energy grids.
It's not just about individual companies benefiting, but society as a whole. Imagine cities optimizing traffic flow, reducing congestion and emissions, or power grids preventing outages.
It's all about creating a more sustainable and efficient future.
That's the goal.
I'm excited to see where this goes. It's just the beginning.
It's amazing to think about how digital twins could change things. We're on the verge of something totally new.
Yeah. And we also need new ethical frameworks and regulations to make sure this technology is used responsibly. It's powerful stuff.
So, for example, how do we protect privacy? As digital twins become more sophisticated, we need clear guidelines for data ownership, access, and security, especially for sensitive information like healthcare data.
Exactly. That's really important.
And what about jobs? Could this lead to job loss?
It's a valid concern. Any new technology can disrupt the workforce, but I think it'll also create new opportunities.
So jobs will evolve, not disappear.
Right? We'll need people to design, build, and manage these systems, as well as analyze all the data. So new career paths will emerge.
That's good to hear. Digital twins could also help with big global challenges like climate change and resource scarcity. Imagine using them to optimize energy consumption, reduce reliance on fossil fuels, or manage water resources better.
It's about creating a more sustainable future. Digital twins could be a big part of that.
I think so. And that brings us to the end of today's deep dive into some of the most exciting and transformative technologies shaping our future. We've explored the concepts of extended reality, metaverse, and how data and AI play pivotal roles in bringing the metaverse to life. From the technological ingredients that make up this virtual universe to the use of artificial intelligence within it, we've learned how these innovations are coming together to create immersive, intelligent environments.
Absolutely. We also touched on the fascinating concept of digital twins and how they, powered by AI, are offering new ways to monitor, simulate, and optimize everything from urban infrastructure to healthcare systems. These technologies are fundamentally reshaping how we interact with both the real and virtual worlds.
In our next session, we'll be diving into some real-world applications of the metaverse and how embedded AI is making them even more impactful. We'll also discuss some of the impediments to creating the metaverse, the challenges standing in the way, and some of the bold predictions people have made about its growth and potential. It's going to be another exciting conversation, and we can't wait to share it with you.
So make sure to join us next time as we continue our journey into the future of technology, the metaverse, and everything in between. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.